Good afternoon. My name is Dyese Matthews, and my co-presenter is Dr. Kelly Reddy-Best. And we conducted this research alongside our other colleague, Dana Gooden. And the title of this presentation is Intersectional Labor and White Supremacy, Dressing a Black-Centered Fashion Exhibition at a Predominantly White Institution with White Mannequins. In 2020, at the Iowa State University Textiles and Clothing Museum, we mounted an exhibition focusing on Black women college students and how their dress during the Black Lives Matter movement reflects their Black and activist identities while on campus. 15 current Black women college students loaned 40 objects used in the exhibition. Each woman completed an oral history about experiences with her objects using the social historical exhibition making process. In the 500 square foot gallery, we included 20 dressed mannequins. The purpose of this research was to critically analyze the mannequin preparation from our lived experiences as curators using autoethnography. Additionally, we outlined the exhibition preparation methods used to transform the mannequins to reflect the identities of the object owners. So the purpose of mannequins in museum exhibitions is twofold. First, from a conservation perspective, the mannequins provide support for the garment. Secondly, it serves as an inanimate representation of the body. Entwistle's concept of the situated bodily practice highlights the importance of the boundaries between dress and the body, meaning that mannequins represent a part of the embodied dress practice. So with Entwistle's concept in mind, we walked into the mannequin storage space and pulled out the needed mannequins, which were only available in white covered fabric. As an initial step in building the exhibition, we also hung 13 36 by 48 photographs of the Black women featured in the show. And here are some examples of the images used in the gallery, and all of these images were used with permission of the participants. So the middle image here is what visitors saw when you first walked into the gallery, which includes 2 of our participants, as well as some quotes and text from the book Liberated Threads by Dr. Tanisha C. Ford, which was very foundational in the curation of this exhibition. And the 2 images also show more examples of Black women featured in the exhibition. And here are just a few more examples of some of the images that were also hung in the gallery that are reflective of the Black women who participated in the research. So after hanging those images in the gallery, we then built the needed structural supports for the mannequins. And then we dressed them all and put them in the cases. Given the limited time, labor, and financial resources available, we originally decided to leave the white appearing mannequins. However, after viewing the visual impact of the white appearing mannequins against those large scale images of the Black women, we decided that a change was needed.
We then pulled all of the mannequins out of the cases. We undressed them and we began experimenting with different mannequin cover options. We determined that a partial Dyese style mannequin cover best fit our time, budget, and labor restrictions. And the two images here highlight the type of covering that we did. We obtained 4-way stretch knits in 4 different shades of brown to reflect the varying skin tones of the women who were featured in the exhibition.
And we then stretched, pulled, and we pinned the fabric to the mannequins.
We offer various tips for folks who might want to use this technique in the future. First, as we were experimenting with different fabrics, we found that it was best to use fabric with the least amount of sheen, because this would reduce the focus on the covering and have the viewer's eyes more observe the garments as opposed to the cover that were potentially shiny. Also, we recommend that as you are creating the partial Dyese style covering, that you just consider the visible skin and that's going to be dependent upon the garment structure. So the image on the left shows an example where the only part that was visible was the upper part of the chest. So we didn't cover the entire part of the mannequin. We also found that it was better to overcut than to undercut the amount of fabric used. And also, whichever part of the mannequin would be facing outward, it was best to start pinning at the center front of that part of the mannequin and then drape to the back. And as we were covering, we used varying draping techniques to hide the gathered fabric, and we would pin and then smooth and then push it to the back and then pin and then smooth. And at some point you may clip into a wrinkle in the same way that you would use in draping techniques to create original garments. And after all of the fabric was smoothed and pinned to the back, we would then cut away the excess fabric, and we wouldn't cut until the very end. And so on the picture on the right-hand side, you can see all the fabric that has been smoothed and pinned into the back, and we haven't yet cut the excess fabric yet. And then if that gather point is visible, you could potentially cover it with a clean-edged fabric, and this would reduce the visibility of the gathering at the back. And we attached that clean piece of fabric either by pinning that piece, or we also, in some instances, stitched that piece to the mannequin as well. After we recovered all of the mannequins, we then placed them back inside all of the cases. And these images on the slide show the varying amounts of skin that were revealed depending upon the garment structure. For example, the dress on the left has a cutout around the abdomen area. Again, so then we'd have to cover more, as opposed to the t-shirts, which just had the neck visible. So we didn't have to cover the mannequin as much. The available materials in our institution, and also the additional labor involved in this entire process, represents the prevailing white supremacy in museum spaces as curators work towards social justice initiatives in museum institutions. And we offer this one technique of covering mannequins as a way to center Black voices and Black experiences in future fashion museum exhibitions.